What is going on, everybody? It's Nick and Seth with the Home Builder Marketers Podcast. And today we are joined by James Russell he is the owner of Builders VA. And today we're going to be going deep on how you in the construction industry can buy back your time and start focusing on the 20% of the things, creating the 80% of the income. And we are joined by the industry's greatest. James, tell me a little bit more about Builders VA. How do you help companies? How are you helping them buy back their time?
I tell you what, we only work with builders, right? And builders and trades. And the whole point is we've got to get the stuff out of builders' heads and get them to start letting go of not just some tasks here and there, which some of them like to do. You know, they get an apprentice. But what we need to let them go is get them to let go of decisions. Get them to let go of, it's the stuff that takes up the spinning loop in their head at night, right? The stuff that stops them sleeping at night. That's the stuff we've got to get them to let go. And it's that peace that they get after actually realizing that 80% done by someone else is still 100% better than what they're doing right now.
Amen to that. Yep. And you've been getting coached by Dan Martell personally for the last, how long now?
Geez, it's been a good 6 months, like in person, but I think it's all the years before that.
Yeah.
I think we've been spiritual brothers. But yeah.
Okay. Awesome. And so you've been getting coached by Dan, plus you've had Builders VA for the last few years. And how many builders have you helped buy back their time?
Oh, geez, it'd be about 350 now that we've helped. Yeah. So
amazing.
And I think, well, that's the ones, that I know of over the last kind of 10 years. So doing this since 2017.
Wow. That's amazing.
Doing it for builders and trades. It's been a fun ride.
Yeah. And the reason why I say this is to just kind of set the stage for, the builders, remodelers that are listening in today on, where James is coming from with what he's sharing, talking about how these people can actually buy back their time will end up giving you more of your time to spend with your family, more of your time to spend on the things actually producing income, and more of your time just back in your pocket to just feel that weight lifted off your shoulders. Because most builders are perfectionists. Most builders want to do everything themselves. They don't want to hand the tasks off, and they would rather just go and do it themselves rather than giving it to somebody else. But the reality is most builders are doing $15 an hour tasks themselves. They're the ones going and writing the blogs and putting it on.
And they're the ones also telling themselves, I may as well do it myself. Every time I give it to someone, I got to take it back. They're creating these stories, right? And it's half the time it's not because the person's bad that they're delegating to. Half the time it's because of the way that they are trying to let go. They're setting themselves up to fail, and they're that close, right? They're that close.
Yeah.
But they don't even know it.
Nick, talk a little bit about some of the top builders that we work with and how are they buying back their time?
Well, yeah, the top builders that we work with, they buy back their time in literally every single way. I mean, they look at the company and they're not afraid to replace themselves with everything they do. And so that's what it takes to scale. It's literally like becoming great at something and then building a team to do it greater than you can. And from my perspective, it's the only way to scale because, obviously we're in the marketing business, but I see this time and time again. We could generate 500 leads for a company. And now all of a sudden they don't have the person to phone the leads because the business owner is too busy. The business owner is too busy building the actual estimate, which somebody else could do. So there's all these things that are actually a bottleneck in the business are all things that should be done by somebody else. And it's a big problem because most of the times people don't want to let go. They're like, I know this business better than anybody. I'm going to make the calls. It's like, well, you don't even make the calls to begin with. So how do you expect?
And then when you do make the calls, one day they're on time, one day that they're, it's like so inconsistent, right? Like it's the squeaky wheel gets the oil, and they're, it's like on a good day they're getting back to people, and it's great. It's great service, but you got this. Oh, but it's great when I talk to the client. Well, yeah, but you haven't spoken to them for 3 weeks because you got busy on this other job. So is that great service? Yeah, they love speaking to you, but you haven't. So, get someone to get back to them every day, every week. That's what they want. But it ends up coming down to the fact that I speak to builders and they don't admit, they say that they want to let go. and I'm sure you hear this too, right? It's like, oh no,
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to scale. I'm
I
getting
want to
team.
grow.
I want to grow. I want to let go. And sometimes they'll have I may as well do it myself, no. But sometimes they've stepped past that and they're like, yeah, I want to let go. But then they try and piecemeal it. It's like either they go, oh, I just want to give them this little thing and they can do that without any context. They're like, oh, I just want someone to do my bookkeeping here, this little piece. Or just want someone, or they go, I just need to find a mini me, and they just take it. It's gone too far. And it's one or the other. They're like famine or flood, as opposed to having a structured approach to go, you know what, this can happen, but I got to enable my team. I've got to lead from the front, right? And once they kind of realize that there is a nice, simple way of letting go in a way that, keeps things safe, keeps their reputation, right? It's actually pretty easy, but it's 90% up here. And I think that's, when I run through the framework, and I'm sure you do the same thing when, we do our discoveries, we've got to figure out what the problem is half the time first, right? We've got to start with what is the thing
Diagnose.
that is sucking. But we've got to diagnose, right? We've got to figure out what is the thing that is actually sucking up their time. What is the actual problem? What are those core pain points for their clients, for their customer delivery, for their time? And then from that, it's about finding the clear objectives. Okay, if these outcomes were achieved by someone else, not me, right? Would that give me the space to buy back my time, to have relationships with my clients? And once you've got those, usually it's just 3 to 4 core objectives for your talent. Someone's coming on board. And you've got to remember, this could be anything. This could be around your estimating, your contract administration, communication. You're like, okay, yes, if all my jobs had all their data in it and I knew my job profitability up to date at all times, that would be one thing. Awesome. If all my clients were updated every day, every week, every month, and my team knew exactly where things were at, that would be awesome. And if all my guys actually put in, and my subs put in all the information every single day into the system, oh my goodness, my life would change. Boom, you've got someone's role and they know how to win. Did you see how nothing I said then was a task, was some micromanaged task you've got to write some 30-page SOP for? You just gave someone a purpose.
This is how you win.
You give someone a purpose that they can win, then you can win. And allow them to own that and ask you the question, hey, boss, I need this in order to get my result. Can you give that to me?
Yep.
Does that sound like a better conversation to have? Does that sound like a
conversation?
Then, boss, I've done this. What do you want me to do next? It's like, geez, whiz. Like, no one likes that question.
No.
Right? That's like, no, none of us do. So
No,
avoid it by giving someone a purpose. And then your job is just to give them what they need to succeed. And that's it. You do that, and the builders can let go. And that's what I find is the difference between a builder who spends 2 years letting go 20% of nothing to a builder who actually lets go of decision making, that has initiative in their business, is purpose, and then giving themselves a new problem. My problem is not to solve how to build the frame. My problem is how to help my team achieve their outcomes. That's their new problem. They're still a problem solver. They're still doing the same thing they got and they love this business for. It's just a different problem, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And that's what I love saying is that switch.
That mental switch. So let's name off the top 5 things. Actually, I'll make it easy. The top 2 to 3 things that a builder is doing right now that a virtual assistant or somebody could come in and replace them doing it and buy back their time that's eating up a lot of their time day to day.
I'll use one word, chasing. Right? Chasing. They're either chasing a client for documentation. You got to push people through the pipeline, right?
Yeah.
If people start at the beginning, I mean, every business is the same. They start at the beginning, they've got to go to the end and pay you, right? Be happy.
Yeah.
Now, to do that, you've got to chase someone. You've got to chase the client for the selections information and their documentation, and that. Then you've got to chase engineers. You send out your requests for quotes to your subs. You've got to chase them. It's having a checklist per stage of all the stuff you need and chasing the person responsible for getting that and moving that through the pipeline to expedite the flow of the job, right? And that's where money is generated. Right. So first thing is chasing, understanding the pipeline and chasing that through. And that's all the way from beginning all the way through to chasing referrals after the job's finished. Right. There's something that needs to be chased. That's number one. Now, to be honest, that actually takes a lot of the other things out of the way. Right. But now let's move from chasing is pretty much the entire back office, if you think about it, because even money, that's chasing. But I think the other thing is clarity, right? So there is financial clarity. So matching, which is not, there's not as much chasing in this. This is about making sure that the information that's in there is correct and up to date, that you know how much your money you're making every single day, not at the end of the job. It's about making sure that you can go to bed knowing that you're on budget and you've got things matched. You're not doing an autopsy, right, at the end of a job to go, oh, you got to make some money. Is the money in the account? Oh, crap, there's not. Oh, well, next time. Clarity. So that's the next one. And I think after those first two, we start moving into the specialists. And this is the thing that a lot of builders kind of don't understand is out there. Is they're kind of looking around. They go, oh, I need to find some like an estimator or a designer or an architect who's around the corner. You know, some of the best talent I have seen has come. We've got architects in Mexico. We've got architectural 3D renderers in the Philippines that are the best in the world, right? I'm not talking about people who are equal. I'm talking about these guys that not only they love it, but they're the best. So it's starting to then find the specialists that are going to support your team. If you've got an estimator, brilliant. Let's make him stronger. Let's get him to be able to quote 2, 3, 4 times as much, right? And this is the thing about hiring people. You're not hiring people to replace your existing amazing humans. What you want to do is just lift them up, give them Iron Man suits, give them superpowers by finding them the support team that they need, the systems to make them more, give them more capacity. And that's I think you said 2 or 3. That's the third. Find the specialist to support your specialists. Right? You can get those 3 done. That's scale, right? You can scale. You can get your team to do 2, 3. It's leverage. And we call our system the leverage OS, right? It's a bit funny, but that's what it is, because it's about, that's our entire job is leverage. Leveraging you, leveraging the team, that's it. And it's so much fun once you get that. Man.
So talk to me about where the best, go ahead, Nick.
Oh, we had on our leadership meeting today, we had a book called Multipliers. It's called Multipliers, and it talks about how when you have people, Seth, you might be able to explain it a little bit better, but essentially like there's like different personality traits, and a lot of the people are only getting 40% out of their people because they're not actually giving their people what they need to go and absolutely crush it with the right person in the right seat. And so it's like, you know, in knowing that, or there's just a book that we read earlier, or, you know, we're going over called Multipliers. And I just thought it was also relevant to this conversation about
it's the same thing, right?
And then it's also,
what's your problem? The problem is you got to give the people what they need, but to do what?
Well,
they have to have the objective, and then you've got to be the one supplying that what that is, you know.
Now, talk to me a little bit. I'll come back to the multipliers topic, Nick. I don't want to scrape over that, but one thing that I think a lot of people wonder about is the leadership aspect of bringing on a VA. You know, how much do they need to manage? How much time goes into micromanaging or making sure that they know how to win and making sure that they're working on the right things and they're not just throwing money out the door and that VA is working on something that's irrelevant?
Such an important question. I think this is where a lot of the stigma comes up about finding someone, you know, whether it be in-house or offshore, is, I've just got to keep telling them what to do. You know, they just sit there waiting and what if they're working on the wrong thing, and I throw it out. Yeah. In Australia, we call it the boomerang effect.
The boomerang effect. Okay.
Right. Comes back and smacks you in the head. Right. And a lot of this does come down to that clarity over not how, but clarity over the why, clarity over the what. Right. So it's that, again, we're back to the 10-80-10. 10% of good data in. What's the scope? What's the brief? What's the purpose? What are we trying to achieve here? What's the outcome? Right. And then 80% of them being able to draft, get that ready. And then 10% of feedback loop to see if there was any gap between that outcome and the result. And then the next time that happens, it's better than it was yesterday. This could be anything from design, email, cost tracking, scheduling. It doesn't actually matter. It's brief, it's activity, and then feedback loop. And so a lot of what I see, exactly what you're talking about is they try to do some kind of list of, this is what I need you to do today, like that, right? And there's that, again, there's a crushing feeling of micromanagement responsibility. And then you start asking the
run out of things, it's like, do I fire this person?
What do I do next? I've got to find them something to do, right? Once they've got an objective, they'll come to you and ask. They'll find, I just did a podcast yesterday with one of our team, who's been supporting a builder, and she was just getting the problems from there and just finding custom GPTs and ways to solve those problems for the team. It wasn't a task she had to do, but she had an outcome, which was to leverage the consultants out there, because the consultants were only able to do 3 jobs a day, and her objective was to help them do 5. That's all she actually had. She didn't have any SOPs, no tasks.
Wow.
I need to get these consultants from doing 3 to 5. What do I do? Right now, that's you see the difference there between, and none of the clients never asking, can you tell me what she was doing for this 6 minutes of the day? Like exactly what you meant by that. If you're asking that question, the structure's wrong. Initiative is not a personality trait. Stop thinking that. Initiative is a product of a safe, structured, purpose-driven environment. Initiative is always there. It's like Michelangelo. You just got to chip it and poof, it'll come out. Everyone has it inside. That's what I believe.
You just have to give them the environment. Yep.
And look, people have called me a bit of an optimist, a bit of a silver lining guy, but I truly believe that there's a purpose and an activity and a drive and a performance inside everybody. Now, not necessarily in the seat you have. I'm not saying every single person you put in there is going to be able to be it. You've got to pick the right person with the right seat, with the right drive. Mm-hmm. But if that's the case, you've got to let it free.
Yeah.
Right? It's there, man. It's there. You just got to chip it out. Purpose.
Okay. That's good. Now, talk to me about some of the countries that the best talent is coming from right now.
Look, now there's 2 parts to it, right? One is time zone, right?
Yeah.
That's it's just simple logistics. And for US and Canada, we're finding that there's kind of 2 time zones that best support that at the moment. You've got obviously South America, Mexico, Ecuador, Colombia, amazing talent, coming out of that, like those locations. And of course, with that, you've also got bilingual, right? You've got, they're culturally connected to the US, Canadian, the imperial systems, all this kind of stuff as well. So it's got a lot of scope. People don't know though is South Africa is another major player servicing the US Canadian market at the moment. Yeah, and time zone's fine. Right, so time zone's still fine for them. They're much more used to it. They're working for the US time zone. It kind of works into their morning, like they're kind of just starting early, right? It's no big deal. It's like the Philippines working for us, right? So they just start, and it works really well. So South Africa's got some amazing talent, especially in things like sales, custom, anything where there's, I guess that the customer facing. There's a certain resilience and a grit and a push through that that's coming out of South Africa at the moment. It's just amazing and just really smart. And of course, we've got the Philippines, who has been still dealing night, even though it's night shift, they've been still working with the US market for 40 years, right?
Yeah.
And it's so embedded in their culture that their English is trained out of there. That America has such an influence over the Philippine culture that, the systems, the training, there's still a lot of talent coming through from the Philippines into the US. But it's kind of that traditional model is no longer as viable. I've got people in Eastern Europe. It really depends. What you want to do is access global talent and find the person, not even necessarily with all the skills, as in all the software. You want the person who's going to be that perfect fit for achieving those objectives. Someone who can learn so fast it makes your head spin, right? and pick up what you're putting down and be able to create something within your organization with you, right? And that's where they're coming out at the moment. But yeah, amazing talent mixed with that mentoring of clients, mentoring of and those systems. It's inevitable, right?
So my follow-up question: there's a lot of ways that you can get in front of virtual assistants, right? So we've kind of covered what a virtual assistant does, how they can buy your time back. Now we're kind of shifting into actually picking a virtual assistant. What country do they come from? Now I want to keep going down this road. How do you get in front of them? I'm not talking you, but how could a builder that's listening to this hire a virtual assistant? Maybe they go through a talent agency like you, but maybe they could use
there's
a
three
website.
options, right?
Okay.
Yeah, there's essentially three options. You either do it yourself, right? And you can. And if you've got experience and you've done a lot, you've had a lot of remote talent before, you know how to manage, you know how to find, you're in that recruitment space. You get it. You've been there before. You've got the wounds. Yeah. Then there's ways you can do it yourself. You can go direct to most of these markets, and be able to get talent. You've obviously got to go and individually be putting these ads out in different markets. You're probably not going to get the same exposure as someone who's obviously recruiting in all the markets, but you can individually go there. If you've got the time, do it. You'll save money, right, on the recruitment and the ongoing management. The second option is to go through, I guess, what you call just a pure recruitment agent. And again, this may be, okay, I want to get access to the right talent. I don't want to have to try and manage payroll and how to, payment and HR. Yeah. But I do know how to run and manage a team. I know how to maximize that effectiveness ongoing. I've nailed that. There's plenty of agencies that they are recruitment agents essentially, and they'll recruit and manage.
They charge a fee to find somebody.
They'll charge a fee to either do the recruitment or do the recruitment and manage, right? And then obviously the third option is the specialist, like us. But there's another couple around the globe like us that it's that combination of agency managing the team, but then also managing the workflow. Someone who is going to get in and understand what the purpose is, help you design the role, and then design how to manage that relationship to get that effectiveness and the output. With what we also want to make sure, and there are some others out there, you want to make sure that if you do hire someone, and this is a big thing I want to point out, you do not want to create another single point sensitive person in your business that if they leave, you're back to the drawing board. The worst problem I see is not when I find builders who get a bad VA, but when they find a good VA and lose them and they don't want to do it again. That 6 months, that 12 months, I can't go through that. If that's how you feel, you've done it wrong. We want to make sure that within 4 to 8 weeks, that back office blueprint is documented and able to be delegated so effortlessly that if that person wins the lottery, whatever, you can get a new person in there, trained up within 2 to 3 weeks. Yeah. You want to treat someone like they're going to be with you forever, but assume they're going to be gone tomorrow. If you can do that and you've got the capacity to do that, do it. If not, get help.
Wow. If you could recommend one book to somebody that was wanting to buy back their time and didn't know anything about, managing any remote teams or managing a remote employee or anything about this whole idea, what would you recommend?
Look, I think it'd be unfair, considering the man kind of coined the phrase, right, to not suggest buy back your time, Dan Martell. But I want to put out another book because I think this is going to help them let go across the board, right? It's a book called Clockwork by Mike Michalowicz. He's written some great books. Read them all. Profit First, a whole bunch of other stuff. The idea of that is about what you think about systems and SOPs and what you think you need to get ready, you don't. Because what I really want to leave, builders with is they're not going to feel ready, and that's okay. But there's nothing more that you can do now to get yourself ready. You don't have to create better systems. You don't have to document more SOPs. You don't have to lock that stuff down. You just need to ask for help, start downloading your brain, and start letting go and giving people purpose.
So true. And another use case for a VA too is the marketing side of things. And I rarely talk about
100%.
this, but we're not a cheap agency. If there's we're our starting cost is minimum $1,800 a month. That's just management. And so for the builders that are doing $1 million a year, $500,000 a year, they can't afford an agent. They can't typically afford to fork out that much money out up front. But what they can do is get a VA through either sourcing it themselves or working with a guy like you, James, and then actually taking our free resources. We put together a full free course that we give away on our website, and they can take that free course with all the SOPs and give that to the VA to go and implement themselves. Now that is a totally plausible use case for a VA that will buy back
And
your
it's a great way
time.
for them to get started, right?
Exactly. It is a great way to get
again, they
started.
don't need to do something. People are always waiting for that next step to be ready to ask for help.
Yep.
And there's going to be a time where they go, "Hey, Seth, Nick, I've hit that. I've managed to buy back some time. I've now got some more referrals. Now I need to start leveraging this and taking it to the next level." Awesome.
Yep.
But the great thing about you
Yep.
guys is, you've always said there's nothing you teach that they can't get access to. Your book, the course,
Nothing.
it's all there.
Everything.
There's not a single thing you teach is not there. What you help people do is make sure they can implement it and get it and match it to their business, right?
The information is there.
Talent,
Yep.
you get you can definitely get people who love doing this. And again, it's the same thing: is find the people who love doing what you don't,
Mhm.
right? And give them a purpose and let them free, right?
Yeah, and let them go.
And what you're doing is giving them the context. And that's the thing is the information's cheap. You make it cheap. You put it out there. So do I. So do I.
I give it for free.
It's the implementation, getting help.
It's all in my book.
That's it. Man. So yeah, marketing, but also some of that marketing. And I always say the same thing is, if before you start looking for new clients, look at the ones you've ignored. Look at the thousands that are already in your database, the people you've been servicing for the last, 20, 30 years. And go, when's the last time you spoke to them?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And you want to go chase down a new $10,000 client that's going to cost you time, energy, money, and resources to go get, when there's someone out there that you built their house, they love you. They could do with I don't know what you guys call them, a granny flat out the back. And that's another $250,000 you get just by saying, "Hey man, can I come over and have a cup of tea?"
Yep.
Right? Don't make it complicated. Buy back some time and go talk to your clients. Build those relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Stop hiding behind your computer.
This is actually a really good time to announce our new deal as well.
Go for it.
And so this new offer we talked extensively about, but for anybody first time listening, anybody who has a VA that's been placed by James gets 8% off Home Builder Marketers services, which actually saves the money on the wage of having the VA. And so that VA can help implement and manage all the marketing that HBM is doing and buy back your time, plus you get marketing. And so that's
Awesome,
a
man.
cool
That's
perk
it.
of
The ecosystem, man. You got to get the resources, get the
ecosystem.
person, and let go. That's
Yep.
beautiful. And then pay for itself in the first month. That's
Exactly.
Let's do it.
So
Really
it
looking
doesn't
forward to it.
not make sense. What's one last thing that you'd love to leave everybody with on this that's listening in, James?
I think it's for fence sitters.
Fence
It's
sitters.
just hurting your ass right now. Right? Fence sitters are sitting there going, "Am I ready? Am I not?" You're ready for something. Reach out, ask for help. Say, "I don't know what I need. I don't know what I need to let go, but help me decide." I'm happy to have a chat and just to point you in the right direction. As I know Seth does, it's the way we roll. If we're not ready for you, we're not ready for you, but we will absolutely help you to start the journey.
Yep.
Get off the fence,
Amazing.
start letting go, buy back your time, and build a business that actually scales without you.
Amazing. Nick, anything
Hey, I
else?
want to leave it
Yeah.
leave it with this last thing. 5% of companies reach $1 million plus in revenue. Only 2.1% of companies reach 3 million in revenue. So 97% of people struggle to let go and give away the tasks that other people could do better than them. That's statistically true because only 2.1% of companies reach 3 million in revenue. And the only way to reach 3 million in revenue is to delegate that work and have a great team that you can rely on and trust. And so if you need 3%, people, hit up James, be the 3%, find the great people to replace what you need done, right? The tasks that you're doing, you want to grow your company, but you're doing all the work yourself. So hit up James, go to his website, buildersva.com.au.
.com.au.
No, just
okay.
.com.
Just
buildersva.com.
Where else?
Let's go.
Where else can people
and
find
hit up on
you?
Instagram. I am James Russell on Instagram. Follow. I've got all the stuff on there. I'm always putting out tips and pointers. Again, a little like Seth, just giving it away, man. It's all there. Check
Amazing.
Let's
all right.
go.
Awesome. Well, thank you for tuning in to the Home Builder Marketers podcast. Again, if you want to learn more about James, you can go to buildersva.com or I'm James Russell. Right? I'm James Russell on Instagram. And, make sure to like and subscribe so future podcasts like this get promoted to you, whether you're listening to this on YouTube, Spotify, Apple. We're putting out these episodes constantly. We are on a mission to help 10,000 home builders reach more than 10 custom homes per year. And so thank you for listening in to HBM's podcast.